Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie spoke at the owners' meetings last night. Among the topics, Nick Sirianni. How does Lurie feel about the job he's doing as head coach? Jalen Hurts' 2025 season definitely took a step back. Are some of those issues self-inflicted? And the Birds may look to rebuild their pass rush in the draft. Barrett has one prospect who could definitely help in that department. Welcome into Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL. Barrett Brooks, Ashlyn Sullivan here with you. And as the NFL owners meeting wrap up in Phoenix, Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie met with the media, and the topic turned to Nick Sirianni. The head coach had a rough finish to the 2025 season, but Lurie's given Nick Sirianni straight A's.
His performance has been nothing short of outstanding. One of the best first, 5 years in the history of the NFL. 2 Super Bowls in the last, 3 years, one of which we won, one of which we were taken away from us. Still bitter. It was disappointing not to win the Super Bowl again. Hell yeah. I mean, nobody is hurt more by it than myself and our group, but be realistic. The guy's done a great job.
Be realistic. That brings us to our 3-point stance presented by Toyota. Stance number 1, Nick Sirianni's job as Eagles head coach is as safe as maybe any job in the NFL. And it just goes to show, Barrett, the difference of the outside perspective to inside the building. Couldn't be a bigger difference with the guy that signs Nick Sirianni's paychecks.
Absolutely. I mean, he loves him. I mean, you can't help but love him. Like you said, 2 Super Bowls, won one of the Super Bowls. It's hard to think that you could find anything, wrong with him unless you're here in Philadelphia on his performance, So, yeah, Nick Sirianni, he's pretty cool. He's pretty safe,
Yeah, got to think so.
I mean, and you look at his winning position, his regular season. He's 59-26. He's winning. That's almost a 70% clip, 69.4, I mean, look at that. Postseason, he's 6-4. You give the man a team, he's going to get those guys going in the right direction. And that's exactly what he's done. Nick Sirianni is at the cusp right now of being one of the winningest coaches ever. So, yeah, he's done a lot. He's done a lot for, what you want this team. And he's righted a ship that, a lot of coaches would have let it sink.
Yeah.
It would have sunk.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you look at he leads with passion, he leads with excitement, whether you like it or not. His players like it. The one thing that I think could improve next season is there is a lot of talk about always being on the same page at the NovaCare complex. I did sense some confusion, I think, with what they wanted to accomplish. And that's one thing I think has got to get locked down with Sirianni, is everyone pulling in the same direction.
Exactly. These guys, they love Sirianni, and they're going to fight for him. They'll run through a brick wall for Nick Sirianni. But he has to keep things going in the right direction. And it's hard to do that when you don't have, an offensive coordinator there. Yeah. Really, to get the offense going in one way, and then he just got the defensive side of the ball going in the right direction. It's hard trying to keep everything afloat. Man, there's so many things that Jeffrey Lurie is responsible for, and putting on his back that we just don't give him credit for.
Yep.
They don't see. They just think he's just out there. He's just a figurehead. Yeah, no, he's more than a figure. He's the glue that keeps that team together. So, but yeah, I mean, that's my guy. Nick Sirianni has done a lot for this organization, and I got to give him his flowers.
Yeah. Put some respect on his name.
Absolutely.
So Jeffrey Lurie loves himself, Nick Sirianni, but what about the quarterback? Hurts was up and down in 2025, which has led to some speculation about the team's faith in him. More on that in a second. But here's Jeffrey Lurie on the Super Bowl 59 MVP.
Oh, I love Jalen. I mean, there's no bigger fan of Jalen than me. Clutch gene, absolutely. The guy, MVP of the Super Bowl 13 months ago, should have been MVP of the Super Bowl right before that against Kansas City the first time. Exceptional and so dedicated. I mean, I think you probably know, spend a lot of time with Jalen, and he's, as I do with most quarterbacks, and incredibly dedicated to the game, to winning, and being a huge winner. And I love everything about him.
Stance number 2, you hear it there. Jeffrey Lurie is bullish on Jalen Hurts, and you heard from the owner. Everything you said was factual. He's got the clutch gene. You look at the wins. This is always interesting to explain, but from a football standpoint, while the owner has so much say in the head coach, not as much in the personnel and the players. So it's great that the owner loves the quarterback, but I wouldn't put so much weight into that as much as Sirianni.
Right. You know, so you got to look at this, man. The owner just paid that guy $250 million, so of course he loves him. He should love him. You have to be confident in a guy to give him that much money. And plus, you know, there's one thing about Jalen Hurts, you don't have to worry about him, you know, on the field or off the field. Well, I mean, you know, like him doing this or causing trouble, or you hear him, you know, doing this out or at a club or something like that. That's something you don't have to worry about. You know, that's big when you talk about NFL players and what troubles do come to them and how it's so easy to get in trouble. He's the quarterback of this team. He holds himself accountable in that manner. I mean, he doesn't do anything, you know, to try to slander that, you know, so that's huge that he does that. And, you know, he's a winner. You know, he's won a Super Bowl for him, you know, and he's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's been a leader of this team, the captain. You know, he's not the captain. He's the second in command on this team as far as how they get things going. So, yeah, you know, you have to love a guy like Jalen Hurts and what he brings to the table. Of course, the owner loves him. And I think that, you know, the head coach also has, you know, some, you know, loving arms for him also. You know, those guys are tied to the hip. And because of that, you know, they got to like each other. So, yes, you know, they both enjoy his company and make sure that, you know, they rewarded him with a healthy contract. Now he has to go back, maybe, you know, learn a little more about what's going on the opposite side of the ball with this new regime coming in. But, yeah, I think they'll get this together.
One thing that we can't argue is the stats don't lie, and Jalen Hurts has a lot of wins, that's for sure. But if we know anything about the Eagles, it is that controversy could be waiting around every turn, every quarter. Earlier Wednesday, a lengthy article posted on ESPN that cited several team sources saying that Jalen Hurts resisted change in the offense and called audibles out of called plays way too much last season, which led to what we all know, the offense becoming too stagnant. So stance number 3, is Jalen Hurts truly resistant to change? Is this becoming a problem?
Is he resistant to change? Yes. Of course he is. I write it down. I wrote it down a lot. You know, success breeds habits that are formed from success. Mm-hmm. So here you want me to change, and all I've done is been to 2 Super Bowls and won a Super Bowl and been a Super Bowl MVP. All I've done is earned a $250 million contract. All I've done is, you know, won the division, you know, 2 or 3 times in my NFL career. And you want me to change? Yeah, well, you know, you're going to have to. You know, at this point, Jalen Hurts understands that last year was not good enough, and that's not up to his standards also. Even though he threw more touchdowns this year than any other year in his career, he just knows that this year wasn't acceptable. Even though he won 11 games, it just wasn't successful. Even though they won a division, it just wasn't successful in terms of what we are looking for here in Philadelphia and what he demands from this team. So, yes, there's some things that have to change. There has to be some change. You've got to go in with an open mind, you know, and understand that Sean Mannion is a young offensive coordinator. But Jalen needs to know, can he make him a better player? That's the biggest thing. Will he be able to do that? And until that trust gets there, it's going to be hard for him to change again. But should he change? Yes. You know, there's going to be some things that he's going to have to do. He's going to have to make sure that he, accepts, going underneath center, more play action, more motion in the offense. You know, all these things can help him but become a better player. And he's going to have to do it in this offense to help his team out. There's things that, he hasn't learned yet from this offense that he's going to have to take under his wing and just say, hey, I got to fly with it. I'm going to trust you with it, and let's go.
Right, especially when you look at this has to be the season that's adapted. I keep going back to it, and I'll never forget it, Barrett, last season at training camp when Jalen Hurts, after a press conference, tells you, this is my offense, and this is how I'm going to run it. It's my offense. I don't think it can be Jalen Hurts' offense anymore. It has to be the Eagles' offense. And tailoring around the quarterback, well, I get that sounds like a great idea. It's not working, and you got to be able to adapt.
Well, it didn't work last year, and I say it all the time. Defensive coordinators get paid millions of dollars to stop offenses, and that offense was great. It won them a Super Bowl. So they lost sleep over trying to stop this Jalen Hurts offense. So things have to change now. He doesn't know this offense. He doesn't know this offensive coordinator. He doesn't know the concepts that, that makes this offense successful. He's going to have to learn those things and combine, what he's done. It's not his offense right now, but eventually, if it goes well, it could be Mannion Hurts' offense, and they combine together to be a great offense.
A beautiful blend, but that doesn't happen overnight. So very interesting stuff going on there with Jalen Hurts. It is time for Barrett's Breakdown. This man has been profiling a prospect every day as we head into the NFL draft just a couple weeks away. And Barrett, today we check out a dynamic edge rusher out of Miami, Akeem Mesidor. This past season, Mesidor was named first-team All-ACC, finished his college career with 35.5 sacks, including 12.5 in 2025, tied for third in college football. Barrett, looking at Mesidor's tape here, what stands out?
What stands out is this young man learned a lot from Jason Taylor. Jason Taylor is Jason Taylor.
Yeah.
He's got a gold jacket, Hall of Famer. But if you look at it, Mesidor has pass rush moves on pass rush moves. I love the way he redirects. He has everything that you want from a pass rusher. His size, I wish he was like an inch taller, but he's 6'3", 259, almost 260 pounds. But he plays a lot bigger than what you see. He's not, a real explosive player, but he's explosive enough to go out there and make plays. And I love how he sets things up. When I watch him on tape, you see all of that. He has, pass rushing moves for days. I love how refined he is from doing those things. Jason Taylor showed him a lot. So here, we have a force defender on the outside. That means he has to go inside. But watch how fast he gets by this tackle inside. Where does he go? Sack. You got to know that as an offensive tackle, and he still beats him. Still beats him inside. Here he is right here. This is called a jump rip. And he just, it's like, boom, boom, so quick. Bends the corner. He has that rare ankle bend to get around the corner. And when he gets there, he accelerates. But he also has a lot of football knowledge and understanding. All right, this is my assignment. I'm the end man on the line of scrimmage. He sees everything go away. Once motion goes away, he stays there and says, I didn't fall for it, turns back around, he's come around and makes the play, get him out of bounds. They're not able to get the first down. That's Mesidor understanding what's going on. Then, pass rush. He's in that 4-point stance, gets off the ball. He's just going to totally get past this guy. He didn't even touch him. Goes inside, gets the sack. Mesidor has great moves. He has great explosiveness. He plays with heavy hands. He's got great pass rushing moves. Mesidor will be really good in any defense you put him in. But he'll be 25 years old this year.
That's so old.
That's ancient in football terms as a guy just getting into the league. He won't sign his first big contract until almost 30 years old. That's ancient, But yes, he's a little old, but I love how he plays. Jason Taylor did a great job at showing him NFL-ready pass rushing moves. He has pretty good size as far as being a thick guy that plays explosive.
Especially with Mesidor, it's funny, every draft season, you got to find one thing wrong with the guy, right?
Got to,
and
yeah.
This is such a pure pass rusher that the knock on Mesidor is that he gets pushed around a little bit in the run game, which I'm okay with. I want my first-round draft pick to just be a pass rusher, and this is what that is.
Exactly, and that's exactly what you get from him. He's not going to go out there, all right, can he set the edge? He probably could, but not consistently. You're talking about a guy that's 340 pounds, 320 pounds that he's going to have to go against. Now, when you look at my list, those are my list. The first three are bona fide first rounders, like almost lottery type of picks. I love these guys. Then you get at that second level guy. That's Cassius Howell and Akeem Mesidor. T.J. Parker's right in there also, I put Kendrick Fall in his own little division. But when you look at him, he can come in and help a squad. He might be a day 2 pick. He'd be high in the second round, maybe sneak into the first round later in the first round. But Akeem Mesidor is definitely talented enough to be there and help a team out. I love him. He'll be able to play day 1. He has all those type of moves. He's not coming from a young guy not knowing what it is to be an NFL player. He has that knowledge because he got coached by a guy that's a Hall of Famer. So he has all those pass rushing moves. He has all the consistent things you need. Him understanding where he needs to be in the run game. So, yeah, he'll be okay.
Especially when you look at every time we break down a draft prospect that is a pass rusher, all I can think about is how empty that room is right now.
Yes.
Especially, I'm not completely sold on Nolan Smith and his future here. Are they going to pick up the 5th-year option? Is he going to be deserving of a new contract? Jalen Hurts, you love what you've seen. I haven't seen it consistent enough. So
Right.
This is such a glaring need, but it's interesting because Howie doesn't draft for need normally.
Right. And you look at it, we got Ebiketie. He comes in. He may be a guy that's going to come in and take some of those reps. But we like to go in and have guys coming in and just keep going.
Right.
Ebiketie's going to have to figure out where he fits in. Is he going to be a starter? He's going to come off the bench. Is it going to be Nolan Smith? Who are they going to, who's going to be the starter? I don't know right now, but hey, if we bring in a guy in the first round and it's Akeem Mesidor, he's going to compete on whatever side you put him on. And he kind of fits the mold of those smaller defensive ends, well, I'm going to say edge rushers that we have here in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He fits right into that mold. Yes, we need more. We're lacking a lot. You know, I mean, I would have thought we'd have had BG in there, but not just yet. But yes, it's going to be a lot that we're going to have to do. If we're going to do it in the draft, or we're going to do it in free agency still. Bring more guys in to try to get things going as far as a pass rush. We got the cornerbacks. The corners are there. Now we got a little pass rush. You know, then, you know, we definitely have a lot of interceptions, a lot of sacks going.